Surprised? Yeah, that was me. I'm not xylophone, but wind synthesizer. Hi, I'm Dave Seabolt. I've been an instrumental music teacher and a woodwind player for over 50 years. And I've been a wind synth performer and a music technology clinician for over 30 years. Most recently, with what has become my favorite wind synthesizer, Roland's new AE10 Aerophone. If you're an instrumental music teacher like me, I want to share a few ideas and examples on how I think this instrument can really benefit you and your program. I'm going to give you 6 ideas. Some I would consider vitally important for an instrumental program's maximum success, and others just designed to get you thinking, developing your own ideas, and maybe sharing them with others. So, no delay, let's get started with what I consider the single most important potential benefit of having an Aerophone in any instrumental program: demonstrating musical concepts from in front of the ensemble. See the guy on the podium in this photo? That's one of my early band heroes, Dr. Gary Garner. Gary was director of bands at West Texas State University for nearly 40 years, from 1963 to 2002. So why do I show him? Well, because he was a great music pedagogue. And one of the things he was most famous for was always having an instrument on the podium with him so that he could demonstrate a musical concept or passage to his students rather than just talking about it like other directors. Now, Gary's instrument was flute. You can actually see it here in this picture. And I can't help but wonder how really effective a teacher today could be if he or she not only demonstrated from the podium like Gary, but used an instrument that with the flip of a switch could sound like the instrument or section he was trying to demonstrate to. An instrument like, well, the Aerophone. Yeah, tubas, that's a good start, but lighter, not so heavy, and lean into the last half note a little bit more. Here, like this. And woodwinds, yeah, you too. You guys should lean in a little bit to that half note too. Kind of like this. Yeah, Gary was a leader, a great pedagogue, and probably ahead of his time. But I strongly believe that every school band director should have this same capability on the podium. You can probably think of similar scenarios tuned exactly to your situation. High school band, beginning band, the exact instrument sound for what you're trying to demonstrate to. As soft or as loud as you need. No embouchure warm-up. And you know what? You can set the Aerophone for just about any instrumental fingering you're comfortable with. Flute, sax, even 3-fingered brass. Just always right there and always ready to make your teaching more powerful and more efficient. Okay, next big benefit. And you've probably already thought of this one. Substitute for a missing instrument. Yeah, it's a big benefit. Like, look at this beautiful Selmer contrabass clarinet. You know, you can have that exact horn in your band program for a little under $50,000. Or, of course, you could buy a cheaper paperclip contrabass for only about $8,000 to $10,000. You know, I once heard a high school band in Michigan play John Barnes' Chance's Incantation and Dance with 3 contrabass clarinets. Man, what a sound that was. After 45 years, I can still remember the gutsy, woody resonance of that performance. Now, of course, you might not have $30,000 to $100,000 to get that sound. But for only a few $100s, you can get that same sound with an Aerophone at any gutsy, woody resonance level you want. Oh, and by the way, your Aerophone will also cover all of those bass sax parts in your Holst, Vaughan Williams, Granger scores, and that English horn part in the Alfred Reed score you always wanted to try. Hey, add your own example. Think of the tonal possibilities you now have with this one instrument. And while we're talking about instrument substitutions, the Aerophone is great for emulating or just teaching about all types of ethnic, unusual, or antique instruments and their sounds. Here's just one example. You probably know that the famous Mozart Clarinet Concerto, a solo often played by school ensembles, wasn't actually written for clarinet. It was written for this instrument, a basset clarinet, with a range that extended down to a low C, not just E like the modern clarinet. And Mozart used that entire range. In fact, you can't play the original solo with a modern clarinet. Sure, you can buy a modern version of the basset clarinet from Buffet Crampon for about 10 grand. Or you could use your Aerophone for a more authentic rendition both in range and sound quality. Now, here's another benefit of having an Aerophone. This one starts with a marching band question. Why do brass players get to have all the fun of soloing on the field? Well, of course, it's because their instrument has the tonal power to carry above the ensemble, right? But with an Aerophone, any of your woodwind players can play with just as much power and no strain. And they don't even have to limit their solos to woodwind parts. They can play the trumpet solos too, or any other instrument solo. Trombone, tuba, violin, shakuhachi. You name the sound, and this horn can play it. But the Aerophone doesn't have to be limited to solo parts either. With electronics now allowed in the pit in marching band performances, the Aerophone can cover missing bass parts or many other rare pit instruments. Chinese gong, Tibetan bowls, Indian tabla. Think of the possibilities. Given the Aerophone's ability to sound like nearly any instrument, either by itself or by connecting with a laptop, it opens up a whole new timbral universe beyond the normal instrumental music program to explore and experiment with. Sounds of string instruments, ethnic instruments, electric instruments, ancient instruments. They're all yours with this horn. How about a theremin solo? But wait, it's not just for solos. Aerophones work great in small ensemble settings too. They're always in tune, unless you deliberately choose to warp the pitch. Tonal qualities always match. It's easy to balance and blend the dynamics. Not to mention, no reed problems, no embouchure fatigue. Even if you only have a single Aerophone in your program, with today's technology, it's even easy to have one person be the entire ensemble. Think of the possibilities there. So, there you have it, folks. 6 ways Roland's new Aerophone can benefit your instrumental music program. Use it to demonstrate musical concepts, substitute for a missing instrument, substitute for an historical instrument. Use it in marching band, either for a solo or in the pit. Use it to just experiment and explore the vast universe of music beyond the normal band repertoire. And use it to create electronic ensembles. Oh, let's go ahead and give you one more benefit. The Aerophone is great for silent practice. You can put on headphones and wail away in your bedroom, in the band room, in your car. Well, okay, with somebody else driving, of course, but literally anywhere. Well, I hope you've enjoyed the presentation and you've gotten some good ideas from it. If you'd like to learn more about the Aerophone, be sure to visit these websites. Roland's own website, roland.com, all the great Aerophone videos on youtube.com, Alistair Parnell's great Aerophone tutorials on isacs.co.uk, and maybe even my own website, winsynth.me. Happy instrumental music teaching. I hope you'll be another great music pedagogue like Gary. And help me spread the word about the Aerophone, will you?